What is up? It's a Figure Hunter, and today we're going to look at screen protection options for the new Garmin Forerunner 965 and 265. We're going to look at the glass and the TPU and how to both install them and how they each look on the watch. So if you like this review, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. Now, why are we doing a whole video on this? For two main reasons. One is twofold. One is that Garmin now puts on the 965 and the 265 only Gorilla Glass, which can definitely scratch. And two, because they made the glass domed. So it has a rounded edge. So that's part one of why we want to look at this is you just bought this big, beautiful watch. You love the AMOLED screen. You don't want to get a ding in it. And it now sits above the bezel. So it for sure can ding because it is also that Gorilla Glass. And the second reason we're looking at this is because the glass versions that many of us have used for a long period of time, when you have a flat watch face, you could just pop the glass on easy. It's sort of easy to center. It's not a hard installation process. But now to be able to better protect and have a better visual display, you want to use a TPU. Now, TPU stands for thermoplastic polyurethane, but it's this plastic film that just sort of sits on top, and those are a pain in the butt to install, or they are very tricky to install. And so we're going to look at that hands-on for how you install both, how both look. Does the glass, because the glass screen protector is going to have an edge to it. It can't go across. It can't bend itself down the dome. So it's going to sit up in the middle. How will that look? And then we're going to look at both the installation and how the TPU looks. And I have it on both watches, so we'll see a good example of both. So with that, let's dive in. If you need to purchase any of these, there are descriptions and links below. They come like this and just these little cases. So the glass, they all come with, we'll see in a second. But these are the two options that I've found to be the best on the market for either choice. Okay, so looking at the different options that you have, I actually have the TPU sort of film protector on both of these. And we're going to look at a few different versions of it. So what I had for the Venue 2 was one that came with a kit like this. It also came with like some things to clean the screen. But this is a TPU that just is laid flat and you're going to peel it up. So what you see on the 265, and you can kind of see it does have a bubble here, but just barely has much of a bubble on it. And a lot of these TPUs sink in over time, so they actually seal over time. And what you typically would do is you turn off the watch and then you apply with this kind particularly, you take this spray and you spray your fingertips and then you spray all over the watch. And then you take this and you peel it up. And because there's liquid all over there, you basically can slightly move it around. You get it centered. And then you take this, and what I would typically do is hold one side and you squeegee out the water underneath. And then over the first 24 hours, it basically seals to the watch. Same thing on what you see on the 965 now. This has got a larger one, which is what we're going to look at how to apply it from the one that I ordered recently for the 965. And it was all jacked up. I'm going to show you because it's actually a difficult process to install. But originally, it looked like it was going to be all wobbly. It didn't go on right. It actually is not all the way to the edge over here, and it's overlapping an edge over here. So we're going to do a reinstall just to see what it's like. But basically, you lay the TPU down, and then you start squishing it out. You start forcing out the edges, and eventually it seals, and it doesn't have a single bubble on it. It actually just sort of like melts into the screen over time. So in the types of ones that you get, so these are not the spray types, at least the ones that are initially on the market, so not these little circular types. What you get in this one, which is what's sort of difficult, is you get, like the full cleaning kit, and it comes with like an alcohol swab, and there's a 2-layer pack here. So you're going to have one this is the side, you peel this off, that's the side that's going to face on the device, and then we'll look at it how you do it. It comes with little instructions and then its own little baby, flattener. So we're going to place that off to the side because we're going to look at the glass one first because I have not installed one of these. All these glass ones typically come, one thing that's nice is you get like a multiple of glass with it. So we're just going to take one. We're going to take one of those. We're going to take one of these. We're not going to need to clean it too much because it is going to come from having a screen protector on it. And I'll show you how I do it because I feel like there is sort of a trick. So if you look at it, it looks like it's just going to leave a lot of edge. So the glass is not going to be an ideal option, although some may like the touch of the glass. Although this does feel smooth, it does feel like it's not like it's rubber where it's like my fingers dragging along. And it does seal across the whole edge. So I think with the 965, this is going to be the way to go. We're going to look at what the glass looks like. So we're going to peel that off in a second. So when you get these little dust absorbers and guide stickers, I usually take it like this. So just to show you an exact example for how I install it. So I fold down one edge and then I go opposite. So you want to have the sticker on the opposite side. And I put it like that. And then take this, toss that off to the side, fold down that edge, and then like that. So there's no stickiness coming out the edges. It's just sort of folded. And what you're going to use is going to be like this little guide where you're coming down, finding the center before you press and seal. So go with that there. And then we aren't going to really need to clean it because as soon as we pull this off, it's going to basically not have dust on it. But if you are coming from a regular, just out of the box, or you've been wearing it without a screen protector for a time, you want to like alcohol swab it. And then you want to swipe it with this until it sort of wipes up all the alcohol. But the other thing you want to do is, this is not like dust proof. So you want to look for dust on the watch. And that's why, so we're going to get some of these things out of the way and we're not going to show an example of that, but we're just going to peel this TPU because it is sort of like a film. You can see it. It's like a stretchy film after it's been installed. So we're just going to toss that. That's done. And what you would do if you were going to do this, you want to have the watch off because you don't want any brightness coming through, is you would go through and just like this. You would just pick like that. And then what I typically do is I leave the dust protector on until I get my hands on this, and we're going to try to do it with it on film. And I don't know how well it's going to go, but so we're going to peel this off. And then we're going to peel this off carefully. You don't want to touch the inner side because these glass ones, they will leave a fingerprint and you don't want that. So we're going to look for the center. Slowly just sort of keep it, lowering it without pressing it down yet. We're going to look for the center. And then once we find the center, just peel those off. And let's just get this thing off. Power. So now, because it's a glass sticker, you can already see it. So I have a bubble in the middle, so you just keep pressing the bubble till it rides out the side. But the edge, I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but the edge is not fully sealing. There's like a ring, if you can see it in the camera, there's a ring around the edge. Maybe you can capture it all the way up to, let me see something to point at it. All the way up to here. So like here is the edge of the glass. Here is where I see a ring. I also see like there was a piece of dust on there. And so all around this edge here is, it looks like it's just not sealing. So it is not fully sealing, and you can probably tell it's not sealing because I could probably get my fingertip pretty easily under there. And glass typically will not seal over time. So it's not like it's going to sink in like the TPU will. It's actually just going to be wherever it is. Once you press it and you get all the sides down, let's see if I just keep pressing. Oh, looks like it's got a ring on the inside. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's just go for a full, get that out of there. I'm going to just go through a few. We're going to just do a little setup here. Let's take your alcohol swab. Sometimes these dry out because these are not, you know, some of these companies are just whatever. So you spray that around, make sure it's nice and clean. Toss that off to the side. Take one of your little cleaning cloths, but these things will leave dust, so you want to be careful. So you just make sure there's no, I always wash my hands before I do this. Make sure there's nothing on there, no rings of any kind. And in this case, we'll just make sure we don't see any dust particles. We're going to take another one of these guys and drop it out. Take the guide stickers, get them off. that, that. This is not a perfect science. I'm going to do this quickly before dust actually collects. I can see a little speck of dust. So before I start the process, I'm just going to sort of keep good light on it so I can see all around. And then it looks like I don't see any dust. So we're going to peel the back without touching it. Carefully lower it down right in the middle if we can get it. Like Bob Ross, right in the middle. And then we press it down, push out the bubble because I do see bubbles in there. You push as hard as you want because you're going to have to push a lot of pressure to get bubbles out. And there you go. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a full-on ring. So again, it didn't have anything to do with the dust sticker being on there before. So here's the edge, and then here's the inner edge of the ring. Probably a solid 4 millimeters in. So that is what looks like. It is not sealing. You know, in real terms, and we're not going to power the watch up, you're not going to notice it because the AMOLED is so brilliant. You can see I didn't actually do it quite perfectly, which would totally irk me over time because you can see this glass so clearly. You can see it's just off, you know, left of center, and that would bother me to no end. So now let's go with put all this other junk away, and we're going to go with the alternate. And the alternate is not easy to put on. So that is probably the whole reason for this. So we're going to get this little guy ready. And that is not it. Okay, so we have this. I like this because it has, you know, this says dust cleaning film. Nope, I use these two little guys. I like that it has a dust absorber. So again, this is going to be the one I recommend. It has a full-on dust absorber. So here's why that's important. So I'm going to peel this off. We're going to throw it away because I would never want to live with that off center. Plus, I would never want to live with the. So here you got a dust absorber that goes over the whole face. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to stick it on there till I'm ready. Right? So we know that this one is where is what's going to go on the actual watch itself, and 2 is going to face the outside world. This is going to be really tricky because the seal, so 1 comes off really easy, and then you underneath this level 2 layer, this piece of plastic is the TPU, and it's thin, which makes it sort of melt into the watch face a little bit easier, but it's a pain in the butt to separate layer 2, which is the plastic outside, from the TPU, which is beneath it. This is actually my third and final because the second one I had a failure with. So before we do anything, we're going to get the guide stickers in place, just like I showed you. I always do it like perpendicular to the sticker for some reason. Actually, it's not going to matter in this one. We should actually do it perpendicular to the number 1 sticker. So we will actually fix that. We're going to peel this. Ooh, these stick pretty tight. So you want to be not shoving them down all the way because you're going to have to peel it off. So opposite of the number 1, right? Because we want to peel this without touching this and just sort of peel it as easily and carefully as possible. I have not had a problem with any dust getting on this one. We'll see. I probably will have a dust problem in this very video. But we know this dust absorber is sitting there waiting for me to be ready to do something with it. So I'm going to peel number 1. I'm going to peel this off, and then I'm going to place it down as close to center as possible. And then we're going to look at the rest. It's just going to go for it. So peel that off nice and carefully. Peel this off nice and carefully. Oh, you got to be, yeah, okay. I think it's still there. You can't even see it. So we're going to place this as close to center as possible. And last time I swear I had it in like dead center and it still moved when I went to seal it. So, okay, so now it's there. We're going to slowly work it off. Don't yank these hard because these are sticking on there pretty hard. So I just want to like slowly peel that off so that it doesn't pull up the work you've done sealing the bottom layer. Okay, so I can see there are bubbles. And again, you don't sweat the bubbles with TPU because it's just going to melt. It's going to melt in. But I still want to get the bubbles out while I have it here. So I'll just keep working on that guy until, boom, he's gone. Keep working on that guy. in there. Okay, now for the challenging part, because what I had last time, dry your hands off, is when I went to peel it, it did not quite separate very easily. And in order to get it to separate, I had to like get in there. So we're gonna see if we can get it separate from the film. Okay, so it is. I'm just gonna put my finger on it. And then as I inch it back, I'm gonna put my finger on it. Oh, crap, see, it's like pulling off here. I'm just gonna inch my fingers along the way because you don't care about fingertips on the top, but I can see that it is. Maybe this is the method you use. And I'm starving, fasting, so crap. So like you get something like that happens. Okay, it started to bubble over. Okay, so now it looks like a big pile of junk, but with TPU, it just sort of, it starts the melting process. Looks like we might have had something in there. So again, it's just not a perfect science, but there is a film on here. And the thing about it is you can't see it. It's just sort of clear. And there you have it. So we'll power on the watch and let you look at the final product, but it is sealed. It looks like, again, even though I had it sort of centered, it is not to the edge over here, and it is crossing the edge barely over here. So what I usually do if I have that is I just press down in the edge to make it as much sealed on against the lip of the bezel as I possibly can. You could try this method to stretch it. Because again, you're gonna have like 24 hours till it like fully sinks in. Okay, there you have it. So that's what it's gonna look like. Let's see if we can get a big picture on there. The weather would have it. So you can see it does have bubbles. Those should seep out over time. There are 4 little dots, like there, and there, that might be a dust particle. But either way, there you have it. There's the final production, and you really can't see this. It doesn't have any of the issues that the glass does, because the glass has a visible edge, and the glass does not even seal around the edge, at least with this first manufacturer that made it. This will sink in better and better over time. It is a little bit better than I think the first time because it's at least closer to center. There's less on the edge on this far bottom side. And there's less sort of touching the lip or overlapping the edge of the bezel on this side here. So there it is, as much as you can tell on camera, and it will again get better over time. And that's your screen installation. There's the full summary. So in looking at these, I would encourage you to look at the TPU one. So the little plastic film that comes in this little cylinder, and you would probably do best to try to get at least 3. I think this one is working well. It's just not an easy installation, but I would consider this one as the best I've seen versus the types where you peel off the plastic and then you lay it down and you spray some water down with it. But as you can see in both examples on these, in the final product that we saw a second ago, the TPU, the sort of plasticky film, is definitely the better choice. It is not visible to the naked eye once you have it on the watch. You do not feel sort of a rubberized texture, although it's not going to feel the same as glass, so that is just a fact. But it seeps out the bubbles because it sinks in over time, and it just is not visible on the edges of the film itself. So you pick what you choose to do, but I just wanted to supply the information. Fit Gear Hunter, thanks so much for watching.